And that's the false lead. It's that you were looking for something and trying to get somewhere to unlock a feeling inside. And most of those destinations, you get there and they're not what they needed to be. But the journey to that point is so critical. And so I had this moment when I won the first Brownlow, and I had 3 months of just euphoria. Just everything made sense to me. All the decisions I'd made in my life up until that point were perfect, exactly as they should have been, because they revealed this space of bliss for me. The problem with that was I wanted it again. And as sort of 16, 17, 18 took off, I was just searching for that feeling again. And I knew a premiership or potentially another Brownlow would be able to unlock that. And I got there again, and it just felt so different. It was nice and lovely, but it just was not the same feeling as it was previously. And that kind of shook me to pieces a bit, because I thought, all right, I've been hunting for this feeling. I've got to the place that I thought was going to give me that. It hasn't. Now where do I go? And they sort of say that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I didn't feel like I'd fail, but I just felt like I needed to look elsewhere. And so that sort of transpired into what the last 4 or 5 years has been for me. I've had injuries with my body, some stuff outside of footy, which has really sort of shaken up my belief system. We sort of dealt with a COVID situation. We had to change a coach. There's a bunch of different things which all of a sudden everything felt in flux. But just an amazing learning environment to try and figure out what's real and what you're building yourself off, and start to detach from a bunch of those things that I thought were really important through my 20s.
Oh man, it's eerily, like, again, I obviously have sort of from an outside perspective I'm aware of those situations for you personally, but it's sick sort of hearing that from you. And this is the reason I love doing pods, right? Like, you chat to people that you think just don't experience things that other people might. And as you're saying that, I've never really spoke about this either, but I remember last year, like, me and my wife were trying to have a baby, got this business, everything's like externally in the best place I've ever been, like ever, but just crashed. Like, it started to experience panic attacks, all these bits and pieces where I was like, why the fuck is this happening now? And it's like a really similar journey in the sense that you're always like going for the destination, and when you get it, that's when I was there. So my last sort of 12 months has been being so aware that this is the fun part. Like, this is the fun part now in terms of me, like we talked about this earlier, like when I hit you up in season 1 and we're here now, the fun part's been in the middle, like of getting to this pod. So I'm like fully aware that the journey, it's such a cringe saying, but the journey actually is more important than the destination.
You sort of said about the panic attack. You can't be like phony happy.
Yeah.
You can't like be like, this is the best part, I love the journey. Because that's sort of fake, you know that. But the panic attack stuff is interesting because you've got no control over that. It's subconscious. It comes from inside. And having dealt with a bit of that the last couple of years myself, and still dealing with it.
Yeah.
Where the body's like literally attacking itself. It's pumping out all of these hormones into your system where you just can't really operate at the level you did earlier in your life and career. Where, and once you start seeing that and you get exposed to that, you know that there's that scary place out there or within your own body where it could just start attacking itself at any moment. And that's been the fascinating part about trying to get back to playing high-level footy for me, is that it's different to when I was 20, 21, 22, is that my body is now reacting to stuff that is much deeper than my conscious thought. It's down in here. It's saying you're in a vulnerable place. I'm trying to protect you. I don't want you to do that thing. And so trying to override that has been really difficult. And where my worlds collide is, and we spoke like the spiritual path, trying to understand who you are and sort of soften and deepen into compassion, is very different to being a hardcore AFL player. And you've got to be turbo mode with your preparation and your sense of self and your confidence and all those things. And I find that those pull in different directions for me. You know, I need to be a bit off my head to play footy at the level I need to, a bit of a turbo, but the journey that the rest of my life is going on is the opposite direction. It's sort of softening, it's understanding, it's getting away from ego, all those elements. So the vehicle is whatever your curriculum is, which for me is footy, for you podcasts, but it's trying to walk that journey whilst all the stimulus is getting thrown at you, and try and figure out your way through it all.